Hello friends, I welcome you in lecture number 10 on higher order ordinary differential equations. In this lecture we are going to discuss the last case of shortcut methods for particular integral. So here we will discuss that how to find out particular integral when right hand side is product of polynomial function and some another function of x, say gx. Now we have seen in previous lecture that if we have exponential function in the product, exponential function with polynomial or exponential function with either cosine or sine, then we have seen the formula for finding particular integral. Now if we have polynomial function and cosine or sine function in the product, that is if we have x raised to m into say cos ax or x raised to m into sin ax, then how to find out particular integral. So that we are going to discuss. So x raised to am into gx, gx can be either cos ax or sin ax, and for this type of products we will use the formula of this 1 over f of d e raised to ax gx equal to 1 over e raised to ax outside. We replace d by d plus a in f of d and we apply 1 over f of d plus a to gx. So if exponential function is in the product, we will use this formula. But if exponential function is not in the product, that is if we have polynomial function into cosine or sine, then we are going to discuss in this lecture that how to find out particular integral if we have product of x raised to m into sine or cosine. So in this case we will consider this type of right hand sides, x raised to m into cosine or x raised to m into sine ax. So before discussing the method for particular integral, we require some terminology of complex numbers to understand the method of this case. So first we discuss some terminology of complex numbers which is required to understand the formula for this case. So we are already familiar with complex numbers. They are denoted by x plus iy equal to say z. So this x is called a real part of z and y is called imaginary part of z. Imaginary part of z is coefficient of I, that is y. Shortly we can write this as re of z and im of z. These are the notations for real and imaginary parts. And here we know that this I is nothing but square root of minus 1, or I square has value minus 1. We are familiar with conjugate of complex number also. If z is x plus iy, then conjugate of z is denoted by z bar and it is obtained by replacing I by minus I in the complex number z. So if z is x plus iy, conjugate of z is z bar equal to x minus iy. Now we discuss how to multiply two complex numbers. Suppose one complex number is z1 equal to x1 plus iy1 and another complex number is z2 equal to x2 plus iy2. Then the product of two complex numbers z1 into z2 is given by this formula. Real part of z1, that is x1, into real part of z2, which is x2, minus imaginary part of z1, which is y1, into imaginary part of z2, which is y2, plus I times real part of z1 is multiplied with imaginary part of z2, that is x1 into y2, and imaginary part of z1 is multiplied with real part of z2, so that we can rewrite as y1 into x2 or x2 into y1. So we can remember in this way real part into real part minus imaginary part into imaginary part plus I times real part into imaginary part, real part of first into imaginary part of second plus real part of second into imaginary part of first. So for example, suppose I have z1 equal to say 2 plus 3i, z2 equal to say 5 minus 7i, then z1 into z2 equal to real part of first, which is 2, into imaginary part of second, that is z2, which is 5, minus real imaginary part of first, which is 3, imaginary part of second, which is minus 7, plus I into real part of first, which is 2, into imaginary part of second, which is minus 7, and then real part of second, which is 5, into imaginary part of first, which is 3, and this we can simplify. This is going to be 10 plus 7 into 3, 21, negative negative positive, plus I times minus 14 plus 15. So this is 31 plus 15 minus 14, 1, that is I. So in this way we can multiply two complex numbers. Another requirement for this case is if we have z equal to x plus iy, which is non-zero complex number, then if we want to find out reciprocal of z, then how to find out 1 by z if z equal to x plus iy. So for this we have to multiply numerator and denominator by conjugate of z, which is x minus iy. So we multiply numerator and denominator by x minus iy. Now we simplify this. Here we have x minus iy and x plus iy into x minus iy. So here also we can use the formula for product of two complex numbers. Here we have x minus iy, real part into real part, which is x square, imaginary part of first, which is y, into imaginary part of second, which is minus y. So we have y into minus y and negative sign. So actually we have this type of picture, real into real minus imaginary into imaginary. So here we have minus y square. So we have minus minus plus. So this is x square plus y square plus I times real part of first into imaginary part of second. Here real part is x, here imaginary part is minus y. So x into minus y, that is minus xy, plus real part of second into imaginary part of first. So we have x into y. So this is going to be 0 and we have x minus iy over x square plus y square. Now if we don't want to multiply using that formula, we can use the formula for a plus b into a minus b. Here also x plus iy into x minus iy. If we consider a equal to x, b equal to iy, then a plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. B square means I square into y square, and we know that I square is minus 1. So here we will obtain x square plus y square. So that also can be used directly. So this is now, this we can rewrite as x over x plus y square plus I times minus y over x plus y, x square plus y square, and this is nothing but 1 over x plus iy or 1 by z. So we have expressed 1 by z in terms of real part plus I into imaginary part, so that we can write that real part of 1 by z is nothing but x over x square plus y square, and imaginary part of 1 by z is nothing but coefficient of I, which is minus y over x square plus y square. So this is just to explain that if our complex number is not in this form, something plus I into something, then how to find out its real and imaginary parts. Here 1 by z is not in this form, something plus I into something. So for that we are expressing 1 by z in terms of x plus iy. So this is the step where we obtain 1 by z in terms of something plus I into something. So this is nothing but real part of 1 by z, and this is nothing but imaginary part of 1 by z. So we will require this type of things in this method. So that is the reason why we are trying to understand this, that how to find out real and imaginary parts if our complex number or complex function is not in standard form. Another formula which will be required is Euler's formula. Euler's formula expresses exponential function in terms of sine and cosine. So we are already familiar with Euler's formula, e raised to I theta equal to cosine of theta plus I sine theta. So instead of theta, suppose we have minus theta, then we will have cosine of minus theta plus I into sine of minus theta. Here we replace theta by minus theta, but cos is even function, so cosine of minus theta is equal to cosine of theta, and sine is even odd function, so we have minus I sine theta. Similarly, we can put anything instead of theta. So suppose I have e raised to I into ax, then this I can rewrite by replacing theta by ax, so cos ax plus I sin ax. Now suppose our right hand side is x raised to m into cosine of ax, then particular integral is 1 over f of d rx equal to 1 over f of d x raised to m times cosine of ax. So whenever we have x raised to m into cosine of ax or x raised to m into sine of ax, we will be using this formula. So first we write this formula, e raised to I into ax equal to cos ax plus I sin ax. So here first we write e raised to I times ax equal to cosine of ax plus I sin ax. Now here in the product of cosine we have x raised to m. So we multiply whole equation by x to the power m. X to the power m e raised to I ax equal to x to the power m cos ax plus I times x to the power m sin ax. Now we consider 1 over f of d on both sides of this equation. Therefore 1 over f of d x raised to m e raised to I into ax, this is equal to 1 over f of d of this summation, so that we can rewrite as 1 over f of d x raised to m cos ax plus I times 1 over f of d x raised to m sin ax. So now 1 over f of d x raised to m e raised to I ax is complex function whose real part is this one and imaginary part is this one. So from this we can write that real part of one over f of d x raised to m e raised to I a x, this is equal to 1 over f of d x raised to m cos ax. So you can see here we obtain the formula for particular integral if our right hand side is x raised to m into cos ax, that we are going to use in this case. So whenever our right hand side is x raised to m into cos ax, particular integral is real part of 1 over f of d x raised to m e raised to I ax. Now to find out this, we will apply the case of previous lecture, that is when we have exponential function in the product, we will replace d by d plus I into a, that is d by d plus coefficient of x. So to find out this one, we will use the previous case, multiplication by exponential function, and whatever we will obtain here, that will be some complex function and its real part will be this particular integral 1 over f of d x raised to m cos ax. So we can remember this directly. Whenever we have x raised to m into cos ax, particular integral is nothing but real part of 1 over f of d x raised to m into e raised to I ax, where this a is nothing but coefficient of x here. Similarly, imaginary part of this is nothing but 1 over f of d x raised to m sin ax. So there and we obtain the formula in the case of x raised to m into sin ax also. Here instead of real, we write imaginary part of 1 over f of d x raised to m into e raised to I ax is nothing but 1 over f of d x raised to m into sin ax. So whenever right hand side is x raised to m into sin ax, we will find out this quantity using previous case of multiplication by exponential function, and whatever we obtain here, its imaginary part is nothing but 1 over f is nothing but this quantity 1 over f of d x raised to m sin ax. For example, suppose our right hand side is x square cos 3x, then in this case particular integral is nothing but 1 over f of d x square cos 3x. So whenever we have cosine function, we will consider real part of 1 over f of d x square, as it is e raised to I ax, here a equal to 3, so I into 3x or e raised to 3ix. And suppose instead of x square cos 3x, we have x square sin 3x, then particular integral in that case is 1 over f of d x square sin 3x. So if we have sine function, we consider imaginary part of 1 over f of d x square e raised to I into 3x. So this remains same, either we have sine or cosine. If it is cosine, we will find out real part of this quantity, and if it is sine, imaginary part of this quantity is your particular integral. So we will remember these two formulas, and in the next lecture we will do some problems related to this case. I hope you have understood the method, and thank you very much.